So here we are, Kim, part 3. And you've been incredible, Kim, and thanks again for your time. The thing I want you to talk about, I attended one of your acting classes, and I thought the thing that was worth the price of admission was when you talked about the first time you went to Hollywood.
Yeah.
And I want you to tell me a little bit about that story.
Okay, I went to Hollywood. I lived there for almost 2 years.
Right.
I didn't audition as much as I would have liked to.
Yeah.
I think I only did one play, but I did audition for, I think, A Different World.
Yeah.
And then, because I look young, it was hard, because I went for The Den Mother, but then they said I looked too young, but then I looked a little bit like Lisa Bonet.
Exactly.
Lisa Bonet. They kept saying I favored her too much.
Right.
But I have one experience when I went. I mean, this is how naive I was. What's his name? Oh my God. His father was one of the founders of Negro Ensemble, actor.
Hooks.
Bobby Hooks' son.
Yeah.
I had met him in New York about maybe a year before I went to LA. And then I forget if we ran into each other or I called him, I forget. But he told me about an audition. And he told me she was a gang member. So, coming from the theater, I don't know why I did that, but I came in, I'll never forget, I came in looking like a Brooklyn Bronx gang girl.
Right, and I think the movie took place in the Bronx.
Well, I didn't do it. I didn't get that.
Okay.
I didn't get that.
Okay.
No, there's another one that I did after I came back from
I
LA.
understand.
Yeah.
Because that's the one I remember.
I played the crack addict.
Right.
Yeah, that was in the Bronx for sure.
Right.
And I got killed.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
But in this piece, I had got a hatchet. And you're not supposed to bring any kind of prop. And I wrapped it in this purple towel. So I'm sitting in there and I'm watching the Hollywood gang leaders, and they all had flowing dresses, a lot of Latin, long hair, and they were made to the T. And I looked like like I was ready to do battle. They looked like they were playing at doing it. I get in the audition, I could tell the woman was digging me. I pulled out this hatchet. She almost jumped up out the seat, out the back, and they escorted me off the premises.
Oh my goodness.
And when I told Kevin Hooks, he said, Kim, I said, I'm naive. I did not know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I did not know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I did not know.
Yeah.
So, so I stayed, I went to, I studied directing at LACC.
Yeah.
I took a semester there, which was very helpful. I worked with Junie Smith. He had the Rainbow Theater. He had started in Queens, then in LA. He had the Rainbow Theater, and I got some plays like P.J. Gibson, we did, and whatnot. And I didn't act in his company at that time.
Yeah.
Later on, I was in like 3 or 4 of his films. And I never forget that was back in New York. I remember he was doing this film, and Joyce Sylvester and I were supposed to be cops. And we both I'm 5'4" and she 5 feet. And we supposed to be these bad, tough cops. So I made a choice. I made her butch. And I also made her into cocaine, because I said, if she's, supposed to be so bad, she's wired up. Something, and then she was kind of on the cover, kind of taking money in payola. And it was so great because I was working with Count Stovall, and he's such a great actor. And they didn't know they didn't know what to expect. But when they saw me, I pulled out my thing, and before I was coming out, I sniffed that, and then and he played it. Then I'm on the street, I'm supposed to be with these prostitutes. I started hitting on the prostitute. And Junie said, stop, you changing my movie. I said, but this is what she would do. I'm not doing, it wasn't like I was making up lines.
Right.
It was just basically, smiling.
You was extending the character.
That's right. But if you're making her butch,
Exactly.
You know, you have to go all the way.
I
but a lot
understand.
of black men, especially back then, they wasn't having that gay thing,
Yeah, I
you know.
understand.
I said, but
you were a
I
little ahead of your time.
well, I mean, I was real.
Yeah.
And that's what I told him. You can't, how you gonna write these two tough chicks and we ain't but this big?
Hey, right.
You know, and I let Joyce be because she always liked to play the sexy girl. That's okay. I'm a character actress.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
God
right.
bless her. She's a beautiful actress and a beautiful person. But he didn't let me extend it. I told him this was rock your movie. I'm telling you. I said this is reality because he had a formula. You know. What I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, what else? L.A. That was pretty much in L.A. I stayed my first time I went out there. I stayed with Charles Weldon for about 2 weeks. He had a really great apartment on Manhattan Beach. We did Raising the Sun.
Exactly.
So we became really close. So I stayed there, and then I had a friend I went to college with, and I stayed at his house. And then he said, "You should move out here." I said, "Well, that's why I'm looking."
Yeah.
So when I first came back to live, I lived on Whitley in Hollywood, the beginning of Hollywood, before you went to the hills. And I stayed with, and that's terrible, I can't remember his name. He was a beautiful cat. I stayed with him about, I guess, 5-6 months.
Right.
And then I found an apartment in the building downstairs.
Yeah.
And I got my own apartment. And yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I remember, I'll say it very fleeting. I remember I went out on a date with Flip Wilson.
Yeah.
I couldn't handle that. And he couldn't handle me.
I can imagine.
I've always been so direct, and it bothers people, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go into everything, but I remember when I came, you know, he had a great crib in Malibu, sunken thing and all of that. We were supposed to go dinner and the movies. And so we get in the house, and he says, "Oh, it's going to be chilly in my car because I got the top down. Come on upstairs. We'll give you this jacket." So he gives me this little fur jacket. And so I said, "Oh, you giving this to me?" He said, no, that's for you. I said, "This is what you give all your little girls."
Yeah.
And so when we got back to the house, he said, "You come back?" I said, "No." I'm not a groupie. I'm not impressed. I grew up around famous people all my life. So,
Right.
I mean, I'm impressed if I'm like, your work is great, but not just because you're famous.
Right.
But if you like a great actor or something, you know, I can be just like a groupie that way. You know, I remember I met this great I'm not going to say who, this black actress, and I was telling her, I'm in the piece with her, right, and the reading, and I was telling her how great she was, and she just like looked at me, like, and I thought to myself, you know, I didn't want to go to Brooklyn on her, but I thought to myself, girl, you should be happy that a fellow thespian is enamored with your work. But,
Right.
You know, some people are.
Oh, I know.
You know.
I know.
But
this is where I want to go.
Okay.
I want to come back to the East Coast.
Right.
And I want to touch on 3 things.
Alma's Rainbow.
Well, I want to touch on Alma's Rainbow first.
Oh.
And then I want to go to the play that you did at the New Eureka Cafe.
Don't explain.
That you won the Adolfo Award. But first.
But Don't Explain was before.
I know, but
film.
I want to go to Alma's Rainbow
what an
because it
experience.
connects with the Hollywood and film. And I want to stay with that
I got
film
you.
focus and then go to Don't Explain.
Okay.
And I want you to talk about how you first learned that you were going to get the role and explain how you prepared for it.
Okay, well, what happened was my friend Jerisha Kai, who was a filmmaker, I did a short film with her of hers, and we won this award somewhere upstate. She had it. I saw my resume. And she called me about, I don't know, one morning about 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. She said, "Kim, can you go stand in and be a PA for Ayoka Chinzera because she's starting to do casting, and my film, I have to finish it."
Right.
So I said, "Sure." She said, "I'll pay you $100. I said, "Sure." So I go and I meet Ayoka and Tommy, her husband, Tommy Pinnock, who was a great dancer,
Right.
interpretive dancer. And so I'm conducting the auditions, but I'm the reader also.
Right.
And every time I read whatever character, I encompassed it. If it was the daughter, if it was the bag lady, if it was whoever it was.
Exactly.
So at the, I even called in some really great actresses, you know, to play the role that I eventually got. So I remember the last day of casting, I go home, and about 8 or 9 o'clock that night or the next morning, I forget, Tommy calls me. And because, you know, Ayoka and I got close, but Tommy and I were really close.
Yeah.
And he said, Kim, we want to offer you the role of Alma. I was speechless.
Yeah.
He said, but we need you to come in and test for it. So I had this dress, a great outfit for her. And because she was, even though it was a modern film that took place in the 90s.
That's right.
She was into period pieces. She dressed kind of like she was in the 40s, her whole style.
Right.
And I even recommended Mizan Nunes, me and the other actor who passed away. But I had recommended, because he had got the part. And then she said, well, who do you know? I said, well, the only one I could really think of that could play my sister, this character, is Mizan. And he looked at me and he said, Mizan. So we went down, and it was so funny because when Ayoka and I went down to meet her, she had this cat that was leaving, and you could tell that she was running game on this cat.
Yeah.
And Ayoka is just like, she's sitting there, this is her. I can't even think of the character's name. She said, this is her. And we both looking at each other. I told you. It was like a scene out of the movie. That's
incredible.
It was so deep.
Yeah.
And so how I prepared for that, like, it's, you know, when you ask me that, it's hard because, like I said, I prepare like for any character. But what I did was, you know, I read the script and I went through it beat by beat. That's what you do. You break down transitions and beats. And she had a daughter who she was trying to hold. She had a Catholic school. She was trying to hold on, and the daughter was in some kind of little hip-hop dance thing. And she would go to school like she was going to Catholic school, and then have her leotards and tights and go work, play with the guys later. And I'm holding her too tight because, you know, I got pregnant at a young age and in the piece.
Right.
And I'm trying to hold on to her. And of course, when my sister come, Miss Paris, international sex pot, she brings her these little sexy outfits and dresses her up, and I feel like I'm losing my daughter. And I keep telling my sister, please stop. So as far as preparation, it was just it was a well-written script. So.
Yeah. And you, I remember the premiere at the old Victoria Theater on 125th Street. That's
right.
And I actually sat in awe of your performance, Kim, and you were fantastic in that. And it was just one of those moments where I said, you know, I was really felt blessed that I was your friend, because I saw the phenomenal character that you portrayed in that film, and to me, I think that's some of your finest work. I don't know if you agree with that, but
well, I mean, you haven't seen other work on film, but that was like a huge role. I was a lead. I was a lead in that.
Yeah, and I thought that was, and it was critically acclaimed. It was just
no, it was. I got great.
Yes, absolutely.
I got great reviews. The piece got great reviews. Yeah, and that's when I should have taken off. But you know, this business is very strange.
It's a very strange business, but I don't want to go into the strange business.
I know you don't.
Before I go, let's leave the film and let's go to the hardwood at the New Yorican Cafe. And when you first got the script to be Lee Morgan's wife.
Sam and Rome had agreed they wanted me to play Lee Morgan's wife. But we hadn't found a Lee Morgan. But Sam said, well, I want you to see this guy. I think he's right for it. And that was Ron Cephas Jones.
Right.
And so we went to see Ron do his poetry. And he was phenomenal.
Stingy Brim.
That's what I'm saying. I'm looking at him and I'm saying, this guy looks like Lee Morgan.
Yeah.
And then his rhythm and his understanding and cadence of jazz, I mean, it was all there. And he hadn't been on, as an actor, I think he did something 10 or 12 years. He hadn't done it in a long time.
Yeah.
So I told them, and it seemed like Sam was a little apprehensive. I said, no, this is Lee Morgan.
Right.
And so what Ron and I used to do was I would have him come to my house.
Yeah.
And we would work on the scenes together. And even though he turned out to be a brilliant actor, he was very rusty.
Yeah.
And so we would talk and make choices, but he was a great actor even, you know, then, you know. And so we worked on a lot of stuff, and we would come in and bring it, and Rome would love it.
Yeah.
You know, because we had worked on it, and you could tell we were connected. You know, we became good friends, but we were also connected with the characters.
Yeah.
And we worked very well off each other. And he's a giving actor, which is very good. You know, he'll go with the flow, like I am.
Exactly.
You know, like
exactly.
if you come up with some creative shit, I'm gonna react off of it.
Right.
You know what I
right.
mean? Because that's, you know, and you let, like again, you tell the director, tell you, well, that's not what I want there, but that was a phenomenal experience. And Rome, Ron, and I, all three won an Adelco Award.
Absolutely.
That year.
Well, you know, I was there at the premiere at the New Yorican Cafe, and people who are not familiar with that space, it's very close, and you're sitting very close to the actors, and just your portrayal.
So it's hard to lie.
It was
when you're that close. You know what I mean? You can't fake it when it's that close.
It was just so dramatic and so real. It was like you were sitting right at Slugs. You know,
I was.
You were just.
You know, Slugs was next
Slugs
door.
was a couple doors down.
That's right.
Exactly. So you felt like you were right in Slugs when the action, all the action was taking place.
Yeah, and remember, Rome, when we went to Europe, we did the scenes upstairs.
Yes.
Remember, we used
That's
upstairs.
right. That's right. And you were just so phenomenal in that work, Kim. And I'm just so impressed with your work and your craft.
I really appreciate that.
And your ability to pull these characters off and so convincingly. And so this is what we're going to do, Kim. We're going to stop here.
Okay.
And because I want to go into your work at Crossroads
Mm-hmm.
in New Jersey. I want to go into some of the work you did at the Billie Holiday Theater.
Oh yeah.
And finish up with your work as a producer, director, and putting all these things together in your work and a lot of the stuff that you're doing now, and finally what the work is going to look like going forward in the midst of the pandemic. So we're going to end it here, and we're going to go into part 4. Kim, thanks again for your time.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate the stories.
Thank you.